Hi guys, I'm back again. Today I want to have a reality talk with you guys. Last week Wednesday, I had the opportunity to speak with our camp group about life issues, issues that we all go through, some on a daily basis. Some of us go through a lot of trials, tribulations, we go through storms, and it is during those storms, we wonder will we ever be able to come out of it? Well, my answer to that is yes, we can come out of whatever storm or situation that we're facing, because if Christ is in the vessel, then everything will be okay. We just need to trust God and allow Him through His perfect timing to come through for us. In speaking with them last week, it opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. Even being a presenter to them, it made me look back at my own life, that we're really privileged, because there are persons out there who are living with HIV, who are infected, with HIV and living with AIDS, even have gone to the stage of AIDS, sorry. And some other have STDs, STIs, some have cancer, diabetes, whatever it is, we're all going through something. And it made me really look into what life is all about, because today we will be well, tomorrow there's some form of ailment that we're going through, or it's a storm or situation. But I truly believe that no matter what you're going through, God is able, and God will help you through if you truly trust Him. You know, while speaking to these young ladies, after presenting, one of the ladies came up to me and said, Auntie, I'm one of those who party, and just you sharing with us, it really made me look into my life, and I have to draw up. And to me, I really appreciated that, because the thing is that I grew up in church. It was home, school, and church, and then I started working. Then I started partying, and partying was sometimes just to ease the pressure. Get away from the stress. Everybody was partying, so you wanted to do it, and in doing that, there are things that happened. A question that was presented to me, because I have a ministry called After Your Birth Ministries, where I educate people on HIV and AIDS, and I take it from a Christian perspective, though. And one of the questions was asked to me was that explain to them more of condom usage and stuff. And one of the things that hit home was that sometimes partying, because there are things that I heard about, that partying, and you're having sex, and the sex is nice and you're enjoying it, but during that process, you're not looking, and the man will somewhat take off the condom, and then couple weeks after, you find out that you're pregnant, or within 3 months after, or it's stated no, within 6 weeks, you can do a test and you find out that you're HIV positive, or you have another STD or STI. And it was actually a wake-up call, because we are young, we're partying, we think we want to live the life, what the world portrays out there that is life, and we're out there having fun, but we don't realize that sometimes having fun, we're putting our own health at risk. you know if you hear the stories of persons who are infected with HIV, it is not something just to sweep under the mat. It is not something just to say, oh, I don't want to hear about it, because it can happen to anybody. The other day, I was reading an article about persons who are getting tattoos and they're finding that they're infected. I don't know how true of an article it was, but the thing is that we're young, we're into this fashion thing, instead we'll call it a fashion statement, and that we want to be in the hype because everybody is in it. But I can beseech with you and I can beg with you that I have lived it, so I'm not the kind of person to get up and condemn anybody and say what you're doing is wrong, because I was once in that situation. But being now a child of God and understanding the principles that God has placed, for us to follow, that, as I said, I can't judge, but I can just say that, listen, it is better to know who we are in God, and love ourselves, than to following what the world is saying. Because the thing is, as I said to these young ladies and young men last week, I said, the impression that I will have of you is what you portray to me. So therefore, if you portray yourself to be somebody who is positive, I will think of you as being a positive person. But if you throw off yourself to be somebody who is negative, my reasoning and thinking is that you are a negative person, right? I mean, this seems like I'm babbling, which I'm not. There's just a lot of things that needs to be said. It's a reality, and I know that HIV and AIDS is something that we sweep underneath the mat. Reason why we sweep it under the mat is that we say we support somebody who's living with HIV, but when it really comes to standing up with them, we cannot, because we're afraid of being associated. That people will see us supporting someone who is positive, and they associate us as being positive also, right? I know it is a sensitive topic, but I truly believe that if we can all come together and show those who are infected with HIV how much we love them and care for them and we support them, I know that personally, that with the encouragement and with the love, they will live a longer life. Some persons, because of finding out that they're positive and disclosing to their families, they have been thrown out of their houses, they have lost their jobs, their family has turned their back on them, they have no food, they have no shelter, they have no medication. A lot of persons have died through the system, right? And many of us are not willing to stand up and to speak up about the things that are affecting these individuals. If you truly knew what a person who is infected is going through, I totally believe that your heart would be different and you would give a lending hand. As I said, this is a reality talk that I want to speak to a lot of people about. I mean, I have posted, and I mean, persons say they understand and they stand, but when you speak about issues that are really heartrending, issues that are really true, nobody wants to take the time out to listen. But if I was supposed to come on here and blog about something that happened to somebody, the amount of ratings that would have been given. But the reality is that we're living in a world that anything can happen to us. And the Bible speaks about love, that if we have not love, we don't have anything, right? And love is something that the Lord spoke about. He spoke about his unconditional love, his agape love that we need to show each other, right? I hope that in saying this, as I said, it sounds a little babbling, because there are just a lot of things that I want to say. But I hope that throughout this little video, you would have picked sense out of nonsense, because it's time for us to stand up. It's time for us to look into ourselves, look into our lives, and to say that, my God, thank God for where he has brought you from, no matter the storm, the struggle, or whatever you have been through, because some didn't make it. Some are going through some deadly diseases, some deadly stuff, that if they are afraid to even open up their mouth and to share it, because in sharing it, they're afraid of the reaction of others. But for those who can stand up, who can be advocate for those who are going through whatever situations they are, I plead to you to be an advocate, because they don't have the strength, but you may have the strength, you may have the voice for them to fight whatever cause it may be. I'm asking you to fight, because it could be you, it could be a family member, it could be a child, it could be anybody. So I'm just asking you that, as I have posted this video, that you just really think about where God has taken you from, and look to where God is taking you to, because God is a faithful God, he's a loving God, and he's a merciful God. And I believe that there is nothing that is hard, there's nothing that is impossible that God cannot do, that he cannot fix, and there is no sickness that he cannot heal. So as I ask for you just to really think about where you've come from and where you're heading, and think about being an inspiration and motivation to somebody, because it is through your strength, through your testimony, that will help somebody who's going through. My saying is that the bigger the test is, the bigger your testimony is. And the bigger your message is, the bigger your message is. There are persons out there waiting to hear your voice. There are persons out there waiting to see your strength, that they can continue. And they're waiting to see how much you truly trust God and how much you love God and how faithful you are to God, because it is through your living for God they will turn around and want to come to God. But we have to be true example of what God has taught us and what he has told us to do, so that others can come to God. God says now is the time that he is looking for true worshipers and that he's raising up his army. And I believe that in each of us there is a potential soul. No matter what you have been through, no matter what the enemy throws at you, I believe that if you truly seek God, he will come through for you. So as I said, this is just a live video just to give you something to think about. I appreciate the feedbacks. Love you guys. Later.